Tuesday, January 27th, 2026. Today on Bold and the Beautiful, Hayes crafts with Dylan and Will. Electra is nervous that Will is with another woman, and Carter and Daphne look forward to their future. Read the last B&B recap. As anxious Electra jetted off, Dylan ignored her promises when Will insisted she babysit Hayes with him. In San Francisco, Electra and Steffy talk about all the great work they have been doing. They may be able to get lots of old money. Steffy tells her that this is Electra's victory too, and she's enjoying spending time with her. Electra is liking it too. Finn calls to say he had to drop Hayes off with Will and Dylan because a patient went septic. Electra looks worried. Steffy offers to return, but he assures her it will be fine. When she gets off the line, Electra asks if Hayes is really with Dylan and Will. At the beach house, Hayes, Dylan, and Will make paper bag puppets. When Dylan offers to take Hayes to her place for a snack, he insists on staying there. Dylan looks worried, but Will assures her it's okay. They step aside, and she assures him she has everything for ants on a log at her place. He repeats that Electra will understand they were just looking after Hayes. Hayes talks about pepperoni until Electra calls Will. He has faith everything will go well for her and tells her about Hayes being there. He puts her on speaker so Steffy can talk to her son, and she tells Hayes to be good. Dylan gets on the phone when they go off speaker and tells her she wants to respect her wishes. Electra claims she understands and then asks to speak to Will. He tells her to come home soon because he misses her, and they get back to playing with Hayes. They play Go Fish. Finn calls to tell them how much he appreciates what they are doing. Hayes tells them how great they are and wishes Dylan was still his teacher. They hug, and she says they can paint his rocket now. Hayes tells Will he wishes he could see Dylan every day. Will smiles at her. Will asks Dylan how she got so good with kids. She talks about how she likes to look at the world through their eyes and see everything as a new adventure. She talks about getting into art school and how expensive it was. When she mentions that dance is her happy place, Hayes and Will ask her to dance. She says it would be inappropriate now. Maybe later, she adds. As they wrestle around with the kid and tickle him, Will and Dylan smile at each other. In the Forrester showroom, Carter smells Daphne's latest scent. Kissing her, he says it's as intoxicating as she is. He's sure all the hearts in Paris are breaking now that she's wearing his ring. Her heart has never been more full. She tells him how much she loves him. He would have followed her to Paris. There's no way he would let her get away. He's sure when he looks at her and can see them waking up together every day and having a gorgeous child. She reminds him that many men have wanted to marry her. She used to just have flings, but she's always known he would be more than that. Things were complicated when they met, and she was scared of her feelings and losing herself. He hopes his love can help her shine brighter. Back in San Francisco, Dottie Bright and Joseph Beasley meet with Steffy and Electra to talk about designs. Joseph gossips with her and admires Electra for serving them sparkling wine from her vineyard. They show Dottie one of her designs. Joseph checks it over and then Dottie tries it on, asking if it's fire. "She ain't left no crumbs," he says. Dottie admires the way it glitters. Once their clients leave, they toast to the sale. Steffy gets a note from Finn about Hayes still being with Will and Dylan. She notices Electra seems worried. Electra admits it's silly, but explains she asked Dylan to stay in her apartment. She trusts Will and Dylan, but something about them being alone together feels wrong. Steffy says her feelings are valid. Electra is sure she can trust Dylan. It's a truth universally acknowledged on The Bold and the Beautiful that the children of a couple, whether adults or minors, will meddle in their parents' romantic affairs. However, there are times when that meddling can be over the top or downright dangerous. In the case of Deke and Hope, while they mean well, they're courting trouble by interfering with Deacon and Sheila's marriage. And that's not only because Sheila is liable to snap, but also because they're forgetting a few key personality traits about their father and ignoring the reality of the situation. There are at least 5 reasons why this may not go their way. Deke and Hope have been trying their hardest to push Deacon out of his marriage to Sheila. They think their father deserves better, but the two are acting as if Sheehan were newlyweds. At this point, they've been married for nearly 2 years. Hope even attended the wedding. The only thing that's changed is that Deacon is seeking therapy from Taylor and has developed inappropriate feelings in the process. So why is now the time for him to jump ship? As Steffy suggested, Deacon is looking for an exit strategy, and he sees Taylor as the way out. Or at least, that's what she, Deke, and Hope believe. But that might not actually be what's going on. And this ill-advised entanglement may not be as cut and dry. There's much that they haven't considered. Deacon's children like to write his love for Sheila off as some fever dream he hasn't woken up from yet. But their history is rich with moments of support and devotion. They started out as friends, with Sheila financially assisting Deacon when he was fresh out of jail. They comforted each other when they were struggling to forge relationships with their respective kids. Sheila and Deacon also didn't sugarcoat the situations they would face. The couple has the kind of connection that simmers with attraction and is warm, funny, and caring. They not only adore one another, but they also take care of each other when no one else will. Deacon's the reason why Sheila isn't in jail. He pulled strings so that she'd have her freedom, and she's always gone to bat for him. This moment in their relationship, born of Sheila not immediately telling Deacon that Lee had faked Luna's death, reads more like a bump in the road than the end of their romance. While Deke and Hope don't respect Deacon and Sheila's marriage, that doesn't mean it isn't a good one. Though B&B is notorious for couples bouncing in and out of wedlock, Deacon isn't one to take his marital commitment to someone lightly. Cheating isn't off the table, but actually walking away may not happen. It was his ex-wife, Quinn, who threw their marriage into the trash can by trying to kill him. And he knows Sheila wouldn't hurt him. She'd hurt Taylor if he stepped out. Notably, Sheila hasn't entertained the idea that Deacon would leave her, and he hasn't either. All he's told Taylor is that he wants her in his life, but he's made no promises to leave his wife. The farthest he's gotten is offering to stop seeing Taylor as his therapist so they can go on a date. It's Deke and Hope who are hanging this newfound connection on the two having a life together, and Deacon divorcing Sheila. Sheila may be a changed woman, but that doesn't mean she has to tolerate Taylor messing around with her husband. The concern is that she'll have a violent reaction to finding out Deacon is having an affair. But, in all honesty, this is a bear that shouldn't be poked in the first place. Deacon and Taylor are playing with fire, and for what? Sheila could likely handle Deacon leaving her. She's been divorced before. So why not go the route of getting out of the marriage first? Better safe than sorry. At the end of the day, Taylor is a means to an end for Deacon's kids. They would encourage their father to pursue any relationship as long as it got him away from Sheila. While they've spoken at length about how much better Taylor is for him, their measuring stick is based on their dislike of his wife. They haven't seen Deacon interact with Taylor or really know anything about their connection beyond the fact that Taylor is his therapist. At one point, Deke seemed to be baiting Sheila about Taylor's bond with Deacon. If Sheila is such a danger, then that's not something he should be doing. The same goes for Hope trying to convince Steffy that her dad will protect Taylor if Sheila snaps. Neither sibling cares much about Taylor's safety if it means they get what they want, Sheila out of their lives. While it's true that Deacon has turned his life around, that doesn't mean he and Taylor are compatible. They're different speeds in a way that's not complementary. It's also telling that their single connecting thread is being wronged by the people they love. They've been living in the bubble of their therapy sessions, where Deacon plies Taylor with compliments, and she tells him how much of a good man he is. But he's got his own past that informs how he operates in the world. Deacon likes being bad in some capacity, even if it isn't illegal. He's not always for doing things on the up and up, and he likes a bit of spice in his life. Considering Sheila made him feel like he didn't have control in his own marriage, it's no wonder he's tossing himself into a situation that's liable to catch fire and burn. Taylor's been encouraged to do something for herself, but this isn't exactly new territory for Deacon. The Bold and the Beautiful spoilers reveal that Ivy Forrester will order Dylan to leave Los Angeles ASAP, so their upcoming face-off will take a stunning turn. Ivy backed out of taking that San Francisco trip with Electra Forrester, so she'll still be in LA to witness a horrifying moment at Will Spencer's beach house. After Will and Dylan finish babysitting Hayes Finnegan, Dylan will do a dance routine wearing some ballet slippers. There'll be some excuse for Dylan to practice one of her hidden talents before she tumbles into Will's lap. Once Ivy spots Dylan and Will through the window, she'll feel like Dylan is stepping way out of bounds. That's why Ivy will ultimately launch a heated confrontation with Dylan and start throwing accusations. Ivy will feel like Dylan wants Electra's boyfriend for herself, but B&B spoilers say she'll refuse to let Dylan steal Will away. Electra and Will have overcome more than enough obstacles already, so Ivy won't want Dylan to be another one. Dylan may scramble to explain, but Ivy won't want to hear it. Instead, Ivy will just want Dylan gone, so she'll push Dylan to pack up her things and get out of there. Ivy will order Dylan to leave Los Angeles ASAP and perhaps try to make sure she's gone before Electra returns from her trip. Dylan will be thrown for a loop when Ivy pushes her to remove herself from the equation completely. Of course, Dylan is still trying to find a job and get back on her feet. The guest room above Will's garage has made it so Dylan doesn't have to live in her car anymore. Ivy will try to force Dylan back into an unsafe situation, but she may argue that Dylan should have thought about that before she crossed the line with Will. Dylan might be tempted to leave after Ivy's outburst, but Will may get updates on that news and put a stop to all this. It's easy to imagine Will insisting Dylan should stay, especially if he feels Ivy is overreacting to a misunderstanding. Regardless, Sydney Bullock is on contract, so The Bold and the Beautiful spoilers say Dylan definitely has a future in LA. Like any character's return, Deeks is stirring up drama on The Bold and the Beautiful. Most of Deek's story consists of his involvement in his dad's marital problems, and Deke is one person who'll be happy to see Deacon dump Sheila. After a 2-decade absence, Deke made his return to Los Angeles. It was a joyful moment as he reunited with his dad, Deacon. However, the family reunion was diminished when Deke met his stepmother, Sheila. Like many of B&B's characters, Deke is aware of Sheila's criminal past. Although Sheila's trying to redeem herself and has been nothing but nice to Deke, he hasn't given her the time of day. Deke's behavior towards Sheila has sparked a debate among fans on Reddit. Many agree that Deke is being too harsh in his treatment of Sheila. He's constantly been rude and hostile to a woman who hasn't done him personal harm and makes his father happy. Now, I'm not saying Sheila is some innocent person, but it's sorta just a bit bratty for Deke to be the way he is, wrote the original poster. I agree, I think Deke is being rude to Sheila. If Sheila was still up to her evil ways, I'd say otherwise, one viewer replied. However, most fans feel that Deke has a right to be cautious of Sheila. I think it makes total sense. It doesn't matter that she never personally hurt him, because I don't think anyone would want a loved one married to someone who has done everything Sheila has. While Sheila thinks her and Deacon's marriage is back on track, what she doesn't know is that Deacon's in love with Taylor. It doesn't help that Deke and his sister Hope are aware of their dad's feelings for his therapist. The siblings approve of Taylor and are encouraging their dad to pursue a relationship with the world-renowned psychiatrist. While Deke and Hope are focused on their dad's happiness, they don't realize the chaos they're about to unleash if Taylor and Deacon happen. If Deacon and Taylor do pursue a romantic relationship, it won't be long before Sheila finds out. Sheila's heartbreak will turn to anger, and when Sheila's angry, disaster strikes. Although Deacon and Taylor seem like Sheila's main targets, she might go after Deke and Hope, who disapproved of her marriage. The Bold and the Beautiful spoilers reveal that 5 women will go wild. These outraged characters will strike back after making some enraging discoveries, so here's what B&B fans can look forward to. First, let's talk about Brooke Logan Forrester, since she'll be furious when she finds out what Katie Logan Spencer is keeping from her. Eric Forrester is Logan's lead designer, but Katie is hiding that shocker for now. Of course, Ridge Forrester is going to be angry over Eric's deception as well, but Brooke just might be even angrier at Katie. It's clear that the bond between these sisters is going to deteriorate even further, so stay tuned to watch Brooke lose it. In the meantime, we should focus on a more imminent discovery, since Ivy Forrester will catch Dylan in Will Spencer's lap later during the week of January 26 to 30. Thanks to Dylan's dancing mishap, she'll fall on Will and gaze into his eyes. Ivy will spy the pair through the window and confront Dylan in the aftermath, so Electra Forrester's aunt is definitely going to strike back in a big way. Although Ivy will try to force Dylan to leave Los Angeles, that plan won't work out as well as she might have hoped. One way or another, Electra's going to get updates on Dylan's scandalous alone time with Will. You can bet Electra will unleash her own fury eventually, so both Will and Dylan could face their fair share of backlash. As for Sheila Sharp, her worst tendencies should take over once she finds out about Taylor Hayes and Deacon Sharp's romantic connection. Deacon and Taylor are going to cross even more lines soon, so Sheila is sure to discover that joint betrayal and seek revenge down the road. Steffy Forrester Finnegan has been fighting hard to protect Taylor from Sheila's wrath, but there's only so much she can do. Sheila will inevitably target Taylor anyway and will face Steffi's livid response once she goes too far. The Bold and the Beautiful spoilers say these women will go wild after they discover some infuriating news, so stay tuned. Katie Spencer just scored one of the greatest designers of all time for her new company, Logan. But the new fashion mogul is taking a huge risk and doesn't even realize it yet. Eric Forrester is thrilled to be back at work, but will he still have that energy when his son Ridge finds out about his betrayal? Here's what's coming up next on Bold and the Beautiful, spoilers below. Eric Forrester is desperate to put out his new designs, and since his own family doesn't want them, he is taking his talents elsewhere. Obviously, Katie Spencer is ecstatic about her new employee, and Dollar Bill supported the new alliance. Was Beatty so eager to stick it to Ridge Forrester that they might have just made a huge mistake? Katie was shocked, and rightfully so, when Eric Forrester approached her about designing at her new company. Katie Spencer knows that she needs the best to beat the best, and there's no doubt that Eric Forrester is the best. But at the end of the day, he is still a Forrester, and eventually, his son and the rest of the FC gang is going to find out about his new alliance. According to Bold and Beautiful spoilers, it is only going to be a matter of time before Ridge Forrester and Brooke Logan find out the truth. All hell is about to break loose between the warring companies, and Eric could back out at the last minute. Ridge is going to be shocked and then devastated that his father abandoned his own family legacy to go work for their competition, and he's going to make his father Eric feel horrible about it. Katie Spencer is planning her entire company around her new designer and his never-before-seen line. If Eric Forrester bails on her because his son makes him feel guilty, she's going to be in trouble. Electra Forrester has always been a ray of sunshine on Forrester Creations, but her other side is starting to show. The Bold and the Beautiful spoilers say Electra is desperate to get Dylan out of her life. But what will her man say when he finds out she has been bullying the homeless art teacher? Desperate times call for desperate measures, but Will Spencer's girlfriend might have taken it too far. Here's what's coming up next on Bold and Beautiful. Spoilers down below. Ms. Dillon was thrilled when Steffy Forrester, Jacqueline McInnes Wood, Will Spencer, and Electra told her they would find her a job at Forrester Creations. She's been waiting eagerly for Steffy to get back to her about the position. However, last week on B&B, Electra Forrester unexpectedly broke the news to Dylan that the job wasn't going to pan out and she would have to apply elsewhere. Obviously, the homeless art teacher was baffled since Steffy all but promised her the job, but she took the news gracefully. The thing is, Steffy Forrester isn't the one that changed her mind, and Electra lied to her boyfriend's roommate because she's trying to get rid of Dylan. It won't be long before Will Spencer or Dylan stumble upon the truth and find out that Electra wasn't telling the truth about the job. The Bold and the Beautiful spoilers say Electra clearly didn't think her plan through, and it's going to come back to bite her. It won't be long before Will Spencer and Steffy compare notes and find out that Electra Forrester took it upon herself to fire Dylan before she even got hired at FC. Will is going to be horrified that Electra is sabotaging a homeless art teacher that doesn't have a penny to her name. Do you think he might even dump Electra Forrester for bullying Dylan? The Bold and the Beautiful recap for Monday, January 26th, reveals that John Finn Finnegan's emergency put Will Spencer and Dylan on babysitting duty together. Since Steffy Forrester Finnegan had to take a last-minute business trip with Electra Forrester, she was apologetic during a conversation with Finn. Finn insisted it was fine, and that he could handle the kids while Steffy was gone, so she headed off to give Electra updates ahead of their flight. At Forrester Creations, Dylan assured Electra that she knew the rules and would respect them from now on. There was no need for Dylan to be at the main house anyway, when she had everything she needed in the guest room above Will's garage. After Electra and Dylan hugged again, Dylan took off. Electra was alone when Steffy showed up to reveal that Ivy Forrester couldn't make it, which meant Steffy would be filling in for her on this trip to San Francisco. Steffy explained that she'd moved some things around, so they'd only have to be away overnight. Although Electra seemed unsettled, Steffy urged her not to think about what could go wrong. At the beach house, Katie Logan Spencer suspected that Will wanted Electra to move in with him. Will at least wished Electra would spend more nights at his place. Next on Monday's B&B episode, Dylan watched Will lifting weights outside before speaking with him briefly, but she seemed eager to keep her distance. Afterward, Will took Electra's call and learned Steffy was taking Ivy's place on the trip. Once Will wrapped things up on the phone, Dylan reappeared and seemed uncomfortable. Will sensed that Dylan was trying to avoid him, so Dylan mentioned something about not wanting to upset Electra again. Will realized Electra had talked to Dylan about the chicken dinner incident. Despite Electra's reaction, Will acted like it was no big deal. Since Dylan basically lived with him and was also his friend, Will thought it was reasonable for them to interact with each other. Later, Dylan realized she'd missed a text from Finn, right as Will realized he'd received one too. Suddenly, Finn rushed over in scrubs and admitted he was in a babysitting bind. Steffi's plane was in the air, Lee Finnegan was out of town, and Taylor Hayes was at a conference. Hayes Finnegan had just finished a half day of school, so Finn needed someone to watch him while he handled a hospital emergency. Will and Dylan were happy to help, so Hayes was excited to spend time with them. After Finn rushed off to surgery, Dylan was uneasy about going inside the beach house when she'd promised Electra she wouldn't. Will insisted she didn't have to worry, so Dylan joined him for a craft project with a delighted Hayes. The Bold and the Beautiful spoilers say Dylan's broken vow will lead to bad news, so don't miss all the action.